Alright, well, we'll begin by getting oriented here with the brain. So if you look here, this is anterior, posterior, and I've already made one dissection, so imagine this together. Okay, so anterior, posterior, lateral, right, left. And if you remember, our orientations are a little bit different. This is dorsal, okay, that's very top, and ventral is the underneath. Alright, so first we'll begin by looking at the main lobes of the brain, okay, which are a part of the telencephalon, or that new brain. And we'll start anterior to posterior. So we have our frontal lobe here. Okay, think of intellect and motor planning. Then we have the cerebral sulcus, okay, which is this guy right here, and that separates the frontal lobe and the parietal lobes. Okay. And then if you go a little bit more posterior, we have occipital lobes, and then temporal lobes right here. Okay, and you can actually see the lateral sulcus. This here is our horizontal cerebral fissure separating the cerebrum and the cerebellum, which is this structure right here. So, get my probe. So, occipital lobes, cerebellum. There's a main fissure separating the right and the left brain, and that's the longitudinal cerebral fissure right here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the ventral aspect. So again, this is your cerebrum, cerebellum. This is part of the spinal cord, and very close to the medulla. Here. Alright, so we'll go ahead and look at the brain ventrally. Again, anterior, posterior, so the ventral aspect. Here's cranial nerve 1, or your olfactory nerve. These are the bulbs. They sit in the crista galli. Or sorry, they would be separated by the crista galli, which would be right here, and they sit in the cribriform plates. Okay, if you move a little bit more posteriorly, you'll see this structure right here. Okay, that's part of your second cranial nerve, which is your optic nerve. And so here's the optic chiasm. This is the optic tract. However, this nerve would travel out this way. It's just been cut off. Okay, and that's your optic nerve. All right, and if you just move a little bit more posteriorly, you're going to see the infundibulum, which is this guy. If you're lucky enough to have the pituitary gland, which is this structure right here. Okay, so remember that has a lot to do with your endocrine system and secreting hormones that your body needs to regulate itself and maintain homeostasis. Okay, so there's the infundibulum there. This white stuff right here is the dura mater. If you remember the meninges, this is the tough mother. Okay, it's the most superficial level of meninges, closest to the cranial skull. Okay, and this brain has, not everyone will have this, but this brain has one. So I'm just going to flip it over really quick so we can keep the pituitary gland. Okay, just posterior to the pituitary gland, which is right here, you're going to see the mammillary bodies, and they're largely in control of olfactory relay. Remember, they're connected to the fornix, which is part of the limbic system. Okay, these are cranial nerves here. There's a few more down this way. Okay, and if you just and remember, it's the mesencephalon, metencephalon, diencephalon. Okay, so first we're going to look for the mesencephalon, or that midbrain, which is right here. Okay, and so not this bulge yet. So it's the midbrain, and I'm just going to show you. So here's the anterior aspect. I'm going to flip it over.